Hey
Okay.
everyone, this is Marcella. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Coffee Talk, where I speak with my entrepreneurial friends about how they're adapting through this COVID crisis, through personally as well as their business. And I have the pleasure to speak with my really good friend, Brandon Howley. Thank you
Hey,
so
how
much,
are you?
Brandon, for being with me today.
Good, good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So Brandon comes from a family business and he's an entrepreneur. Tell us a little bit about what you do and your background.
Yeah, so right now I'm a managing partner at Happy Hollow Ranch, which is a family-owned ranch since 1977. My grandfather started it back in '77 as a conventional cattle operation, raising grain-fed Black Angus beef cattle for sale barn sales or private contracts. With grocery stores and things like that. And what we've done recently is taken that model and kind of flipped it on its head. We saw a lot of inefficiencies with that and a lot of lack of quality control. So, identifying that, we decided we were going to push forward and go completely grass fed, as close to organic as we could, with herbicides and pesticides. We got certified with the American Grass Fed Association, as well as the Global Animal Partnership, which is who Amazon, Whole Foods, all those guys use for standardizing health and welfare and produced for consumption. And we're a
Very
step
cool.
four operation that.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
And so, how are you personally doing, and how's the ranch doing through all of this? I know that's a big question. It
Yeah.
involves a lot. So,
Right. Yeah. That's a multifaceted answer. For me personally, I'm doing really good. I think that this time has been a refocusing of priorities for us as a business and a family.
yeah,
um, with this time kind of slowing everything down, nobody's being able to get around each other. It makes things a little bit more difficult to sell directly to the public at your, typical venues, farmers markets and restaurants and things of that nature. But what we're seeing is an outreach, like a bigger outreach to their local producers, the community. I mean, reaching out to us and asking for grass-fed beef, and do you know where to find eggs, and where can I get onions? And there's just this huge movement of ranchers and producers making themselves or even overly making themselves available to the consumer now.
wow, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. So, is that, with that being said, is that something how you're pivoting your business now through this COVID crisis, or?
No, I think that that's the baseline of what we were doing, but with the COVID crisis, the first like month and a half, we got a lot of revenue taken away because we were trying to adapt and kind of make moves to where we can readjust things and still make money in that venue. But where we're really pivoting is where we're collaborating with our chefs and with the DISD. um, that kind of has evolved into a massive project as of recently, to where we were approached initially by the DISD to make a carbon copy of Happy Hollow on their Wayne Phillips Agricultural Center property.
Wow.
And so we agreed to that. And while I was there evaluating everything and helping them consult through the issues they were having, I realized that there was an opportunity to vertically integrate pretty much everything within the DISD portfolio because they have all the tools.
Hmm.
So I pitched them on, hey, let's build this branch out first for you guys, but then I want to see us segue into a retail space to where you, as a DISD entity or a CTE program, can go out and teach your kids the business side of marketing these animals and selling these animals and creating a brand for themselves that they can go out and start their own ranch with. But it doesn't stop there. The best part of it is what we're doing with the actual schools themselves. So with our chef partners, Chef Dat, Chef Barlow, all those guys, and a couple others, have committed to helping me with this project. So we're going to go in and we're going to help the cafeteria staff, the culinary projects, all this, and teach them how to take this fresh produce, these proteins, diversify them enough to where they can feed a mass audience and make it effective as to where the assisted lunches, that's kind of where I mean by getting them effective. The nutritional value in a assisted lunch right now is way below par. So with us making this move, it actually helps not only the local economy, but the kids as well by getting them the required or the necessary proteins and nutritional values that they need out of that meal that they might not have gotten otherwise.
That is fantastic. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a great program.
Yeah.
And would this have happened if this whole crisis, I mean, was this already in the works beforehand, or was this something that came about after or during?
So it was definitely talked about beforehand, but I don't think that DISD wanted to commit to something like that up front.
Right.
Now with this COVID crisis happening, they're a little bit more inclined to do so, and they have actually green-lighted phase 1 of the project. So we've started on it, and I think the realization that DISD had was more of a supply chain issue. The reliance upon U.S. foods and Cisco's and everything like that, and then the processing plants closing down, and then everything starts to bottleneck. So luckily, schools are out right now, but with that blessing, we're avoiding a curse by saying, okay, we see a problem. Now we have a solution. Let's put it in place. That way, they're not relying on national brands, but they can bring it into a local environment and rely and get their produce and everything from the ranches and farmers around DFW.
That's so fantastic, as well as an educational program for them too. For
Exactly.
these,
We're segueing that as well for the high school students to do internships programs with the partners.
So great. So is Happy Hollow going to be, having some interns, or I guess the school district itself on their land, or?
Yeah, with Happy Hollow is a direct partner with DISD. So whatever we do on the Wayne Phillips Agricultural Center is with us, but if they can't hold a course there for some reason or another, we can take them out to the Happy Hollow Ranch and hold the course and make sure the teachers are getting the necessary tools and visuals that they need to relay the message.
It's so great. That's awesome. Through this crisis, is there anything that you're benefiting in your industry, your business solely that, it will benefit you in the future as well, that you're going to take this and utilize it into the future?
I think that we were doing pretty much everything we possibly could do before the crisis to kind of differentiate ourselves from the rest of the industry. And what I mean by that is that we were already getting the certifications, and we were already inviting people out to the ranch to interact with the animals and do these, transparent things to relay to the consumer, like, we are on the level, we are here for you. Where I think a lot of the ranchers and farmers are just now realizing that those certifications and that transparency do matter to the typical consumer, and they want more of it. Especially with these national brands and all these rumors circling around, people are going to start to come back to their local farmers and ranchers. We're going to experience in probably the next year or two with the help of technology. You're going to know the name of your milkman again. People are going to be dropping off fresh produce at your doorstep. It's not going to come from necessarily a grocery store anymore. The thing that we're doing with our chefs, we were going to do the farm to table dinners out there and all these great ideas that we're still going to do, but are postponed right now. So we shifted everything to where we're using our produce and our beefs or our proteins to prepare meals by the chefs, have them prepackaged, no contact, all this stuff, and then just deliver them directly to the consumer or to the customer's house. All you have to do is pop it in the oven and heat it up, and you have a chef prepared meal.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Check it out. I'll send you the